Welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to completely transform how you look at your money. We're taking concepts like wealth perception and financial sequencing and turning them into a really clear, structured roadmap. The goal? To completely cure that financial anxiety you might be feeling. If you've ever, stared at your bank account and thought, where on earth did all my hard-earned money go? Well, you are exactly in the right place. We're going to break down the actual psychology of why we feel so financially behind, and then crucially, pivot right into a concrete mathematical strategy to actually fix it.
So let's just dive right into this. It's a wildly common modern problem. You've got a job, you pay your bills on time. Heck, you might even be pulling in a salary that 5 years ago you would have thought was a massive amount of money. So why do you still feel broke? Why does it feel like you're literally just one flat tire or one unexpected medical bill away from total financial disaster? Look, we have to validate this feeling first because it is incredibly common. Seriously, you aren't doing something terribly wrong just because you feel this way. But to actually solve it, we need to pop the hood and understand the mechanics driving that feeling.
Let's get into Section 1, Why You Feel Poor.
You see, feeling broke is so often just a matter of perception, rather than a literal lack of income. We actually call this the wealth perception gap. It's this profound psychological disconnect between your actual financial reality, like the literal numbers on your paycheck, and how wealthy or poor you feel on a Tuesday afternoon. We're constantly comparing ourselves, right? To our neighbors, to people on social media, to completely arbitrary benchmarks of success. You might objectively have enough cash to cover your basic needs, but because of this gap, your brain is just constantly flashing a danger signal. It creates this low-level, continuous hum of financial anxiety that's just exhausting.
And that brings us to a massive trap, something you've probably heard of. Lifestyle creep. It's literally like being a runner on a treadmill. Your discretionary spending just magically increases right alongside your income. Think back to your first real job. You probably lived with a couple roommates, drove a clunker of a car, and honestly, you felt pretty okay about it. But then, hey, you get a raise, so you upgrade to your own apartment. Another raise? Time for a nicer car. Another raise? Fancier vacations. Don't get me wrong, you are earning more, absolutely, but you are spending it just as fast. The goalposts just keep moving, and it keeps you feeling permanently stuck on that financial treadmill. You're running way faster, but you're not actually getting a single step closer to true wealth.
Let's put this into perspective for a second. When we contrast the cold, raw calculator math of your actual income against the, let's call it, leaky bucket of your perceived wealth, it makes total sense why a decent salary doesn't automatically feel like a safety net. Your actual income is just math. It's dollars in. But your perceived wealth? That is deeply emotional. It's dictated by your fixed costs, that lifestyle creep we just talked about, and your lack of a buffer. Let's say you make $100,000 a year. Amazing, right? But if your lifestyle dictates that you spend $99,000 of it just to maintain the status quo, well, your actual income is high, but your perceived wealth and your actual financial security is basically zero.
Moving on to Section 2, the reality check. Okay, so here's where we pivot from all the psychological stuff to the highly practical, because taking strategic, intentional action is the absolute ultimate antidote to feeling poor. Seriously, anxiety thrives in the unknown. When you have no idea where your money's going or what on earth you do in an emergency, your brain naturally panics. But the very second you put a structured, step-by-step financial plan into place, that anxiety, it actually begins to evaporate. You aren't just guessing anymore. You are executing a strategy. So what exactly is the very first step of that winning strategy?
That brings us to Section 3, the Emergency Fund Foundation.
Listen, before you do absolutely anything else with your money, before you buy stocks, before you get into real estate, before you even think about upgrading your lifestyle, you absolutely need this, an emergency fund. What is it? It's liquid cash, sitting in a highly accessible savings account, and it is reserved strictly for unexpected life crises. I'm talking about a job loss, a busted water heater, or that sudden, totally terrifying clanking sound your car engine just started making. Let's be crystal clear. This is not a weekend trip to Cabo fund. This is not a down payment on a new car fund. It is a psychological and mathematical shield. It's designed specifically to protect you from life's inevitable surprises, so a random Tuesday crisis doesn't force you into years of crippling credit card debt.
So, the million-dollar question, well, hopefully not $1 million. How much do you actually need in this fund? The golden mathematical rule you've got to remember is keeping 3 to 6 months of your essential living expenses saved up in this liquid account. Why 3 to 6 months? Well, because statistically, that's generally how long it takes a focused person to find a new job if they get laid off, or to financially recover from a major life disruption. If your rent, your groceries, and your absolute basic bills cost, say, $3,000 a month, your target is to have $9,000 to $18,000 sitting safely in the bank. And let me tell you, once you hit that number, that wealth perception gap we talked earlier starts to completely vanish. You finally feel secure because, mathematically speaking, you actually are secure.
Now for Section 4, when to start investing.
Let's define our second major tool, an investment account. This consists of funds you put into assets, we're talking index funds, stocks, retirement accounts, with the explicit expectation of generating long-term capital growth. Unlike your safety net, this money is locked away to work for your future. Think of it like this. You are sending your dollars out into the world like little employees to go earn you even more dollars. This right here is what will completely shift your actual wealth over time. You simply cannot save your way to true wealth. Eventually, you have to invest. But, and this is a massive but, the timing of when you actually do this is absolutely everything. Okay, let's contrast these two tools so we're completely on the same page. Your emergency fund, that's your liquid safety. It is purely defensive. It protects your today. It won't make you rich because it's just sitting there in cash, but it sure as heck keeps you from going broke. Now your investment account, that's your long-term growth. It's playing offense. It builds your tomorrow. It inherently involves risk, it'll fluctuate, but historically it outpaces inflation over decades. You absolutely cannot mix these two up. I mean, think about it. If you invest your emergency fund into the stock market and the market crashes the exact same week you lose your job, you are in serious, serious trouble. You need both of these tools, but you have to build them in the exact right order.
And that brings us to the playbook. This step-by-step sequence cuts right through all the financial jargon and gives you the exact order of operations for your hard-earned money. Step 1, build that basic emergency fund. Get your 3 to 6 months of liquid safety locked in. Step 2, if your employer offers a retirement match, like a 401k match, capture it immediately. I mean, that is literally free money. Honestly, do this even while you're finishing Step 1 if you possibly can. Step 3, once your emergency shield is fully funded and your match is captured, you unleash the rest of your excess income right into your investment accounts. Automate the whole thing. This structured sequence is the ultimate cure for lifestyle creep, because instead of just automatically increasing your spending when you get a raise, you automatically increase your investments. Game changer.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with one final provocative thought to chew on. Are you controlling your money, or are your feelings controlling you? For so long, that nagging feeling of being poor has probably dictated your anxiety and drove your choices. But hey, now you have the blueprint. You know all about the wealth perception gap, the absolute danger of lifestyle creep, the defensive superpower of the emergency fund, and the offensive power of investing. The math is quite literally in your hands. It's time to build your plan, follow the steps, and take your financial power right back. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I highly encourage you to sit down today, like right after this, and calculate your specific 3 to 6 month emergency number.